All right, you guys, we are live once again. Let's get some more people in the chat room before we really get it kicked off. But we have my brother from Kenya, all the way from Nairobi, Mr. Kevin Kimani. Nice to have you back on again. We are happy to have you. And so today we're really going to go into detail on the election, the Kenya election, how it was annulled. I guess there were some discrepancies or some fraud, I guess, in regards to the election. And then also, too, we're going to do a little background on the Odinga family and the Kenyatta family. Because, again, I have this book right here, Not Yet Uhuru, that I have not finished. I've had this book for 4 years now. It's a damn shame. I have not finished this book yet. But what people have to understand, the Odingas and the Kenyatas were cool. They were real cool, following the independence from Britain, and then they fell out. And so we're going to go into detail on that and how that falling out still affects Kenyan politics to this day. So, that's what we're talking about today. So, again, I'm glad to have somebody from Kenya, because this is the issue. We get these people, these news people, CNN or whatnot, and they'll discuss African politics or Kenyan politics, and they don't have anybody from Kenya on the actual forum. So, it's like, let's get somebody who's on the ground in Kenya to, discuss and go into detail about what's going on. So, Kevin, let's start off with the election. So, per the votes, Uhuru Kenyatta won the election. But I guess the Kenyan Supreme Court, I'm guessing, said, no. We're going to do it all over because I'm guessing there was some fraud. And his competitor, or the person he was going against, was Raila Odinga. Am I pronouncing his name right? Raila
Odinga, yeah.
Right. And is Raila Odinga, is that Odinga's son or grandson or?
Son.
His son. And then Uhuru Kenyatta is Jomo Kenyatta, who's known as the founder of Kenya. That's his son, correct?
Yeah, the son, yeah.
Yeah. So let's just discuss why there's going to be a recount, or they're doing the election all over again.
Okay, so you're right. The Supreme Court annulled the election. They faulted the IBC, which is the election body here. They say the way they conducted the elections and the way the elections results came in was not the way they were mandated to. So they say the elections should be conducted again in 60 days. So that's how many days remaining? 57 days remaining now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but so far, majority of the people in the country are okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
Uhuru Kenyatta is confident he'll win. Raila Odinga is confident he'll win. So we wait and see.
All right, let me ask you this. Who, so currently right now, stupid question, is Jomo Kenyatta still in office currently right now, since they're going to extend the election?
Uhuru Kenyatta.
I'm sorry, Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta is still...
Yes. Under the Constitution, is still the acting president.
Okay.
Yeah. For that 60 days, yeah, he is.
Okay. Do you think with this revote that Raila will have an opportunity to win? Do you think there could be a situation where a lot of the people who originally voted for Uhuru will now switch their vote and vote for Raila?
Yeah, Raila can have an opportunity to win if he campaigns in the swing votes. I told you, Kenyan politics is very tribal.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a few tribes which are swing votes, and that is where both of them want to hit hard.
Mm-hmm.
So he might win. It can go either way, to be honest. It can go either way.
So is Odinga, is he Luo, I think?
Oh, yes.
And then Kenyatta is what, Kikuyu?
Yes, Kikuyu, yes.
Okay, okay. And then I guess they say that the reason why when you're dealing with Kenyan politics is usually the Luo versus the Kikuyu is because
It's
tribes
only
like the Maasai, they weren't that interested really in politics, from my understanding. Is that
in
correct?
national politics, in national politics.
Okay. Yeah, they're not really that interested in national politics. Basically, Uhuru and Rayla, they're starting the campaign kind of all over. Am I right? Like as far as going out and
Yeah.
now, how's as far as the running a campaign in Kenya, how is it different from, I guess, I don't know, running it here in America, familiar with it? Is it just, pretty much they have people they hire and they go to the different villages and the cities and, they encourage the people to vote for each candidate? Is it pretty much the same process like it is here?
It's exactly the same. You rally your troops. You go out in support. They set up places for you to go and campaign. It's exactly the same.
Now, I know with this last election, there was some, I don't know how serious it was, but there was some election violence, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Some people died, from understanding, like around 50 people maybe, or
Saying 9 people, but well, I don't know.
okay. Do you think now with this re-election that there might be a situation where the violence might kick off,
No,
again?
see, the advantage with a situation like now is that people have been shown there is a way out of to disagree. You can go to court. You don't have to do street protests or what.
Okay. And what are the two parties? So what's Odinga's party and what's Kenyatta's party? And then what are the platforms of each party? Like what are they trying to accomplish?
Well, both of the parties are selling the same things. Uh, Odinga is saying he'll be the champion for the people. He'll fight corruption, uh, bring in social structure,
Hmm.
and Uhuru is doing the same thing. So Uhuru is campaigning on the infrastructure that he's done, and yeah, both of them are saying basically pretty much the same thing.
Wow. Okay. So, because I mean, we know with Kenyatta, um, he had to face the ICC last year, which is, I think, is a bullshit organization anyway, International Criminal Court, because they
It's a
only go
bullshit.
after African leaders.
Surprisingly, both Odinga and Kenyatta were against the ICC.
Oh, Odinga did too.
Yeah, he was. In fact, he said he doesn't want any Kenyan charged in the ICC.
Right, but Kenyatta had to actually go on trial to the ICC, didn't he?
He did.
And what was that for? Like what?
Well, they said crimes against humanity
Hmm.
for
Yeah,
the
I just
2007 post-election violence.
so okay. So how? But why was he blamed for that?
Well, they said he's one of the organizers, which is, of course, insane. You can't be a presidential candidate and be one of the organizers of
Hmm.
such a scenario.
Okay, but somebody in the chat room was asking specifically, what are the names of the two parties that they represent?
Uh, One is called National Association Alliance, that is NASA,
Uh
and then
huh.
the other one is Jubilee Party, Jubilee Coalition.
Jubilee Coalition. Okay.
Both of them are coalition parties.
Okay. What as far as the platform, are they talking about creating jobs at all, or boosting the economy and all that good stuff they usually talk about in platforms as far as
Yeah. one thing, Kenyan politics is, I can say, matured. It has become issue based. You have to sell your manifesto to the people, and a lot of Kenyan people are educated. So selling the manifesto is the next thing. You have to sell your manifesto.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and both of them have quite solid manifestos. So it really doesn't matter who wins.
So they both on their platform, they're both saying they want to stop corruption. We're dealing with African politics, and to be more specific, Kenyan politics. What kind of corruption goes on, I guess, that the Kenyan people see?
The kind of Kenyan corruption, in the 90s we had serious corruption in which money intended for projects would disappear,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody had question.
Okay.
But nowadays it's you start a project and
Mm-hmm.
overinflate the price.
Start a project and what?
Overinflate the price.
Oh, okay, okay. Right, and then I guess some of that money's pocketed by a politician, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we say corruption, is it more like private entities that are behind the corruption that are over these projects, or is it more government involved?
Well, it is government. Definitely, they're dealing with the government. You're using private companies.
Okay. Okay. And then so let's go in as far as, Kenyan independence. Jomo Kenyatta is the father of Kenya, and him and Odinga are friends. What happened?
Yes.
Yes. What happened as far as them no longer becoming friends and them separating?
During the fight for independence, it was only one mission, and that was to get the British people out.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody was united from north to south, east to west. Everybody was united for this.
Okay.
And the face for this struggle was Jomo Kenyatta.
Right.
So he was arrested. He had been behind bars for 8 years, 8 to 9 years. Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when he was released, there was euphoria in the country, and anybody who had ambitions to be president had to step down for Jomo Kenyatta, because the euphoria was quite huge in his favor,
Mm-hmm.
including Odinga. They had to step down and let Kenyatta take the leadership because, he was the popular one.
Okay.
So Kenya started off on the right foot, and Odinga and Kenyatta had ideological differences.
Like what differences?
Odinga was a social democrat,
Okay.
and Jomo Kenyatta was a straight up capitalist.
Okay. So we would say Kenyatta was a Republican.
Yes, you can say Kenyatta was a Republican.
Okay.
He was quite conservative, and money was everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Odinga was more for the people. That was a social kind of structure.
Right.
So immediately, to defeat him easily is the easiest tag at that time you would give somebody was call him a communist. Once you call somebody a communist, at that time in the 60s, you've defeated them.
Right. So let me ask you this: and you're saying they called Odinga a communist, correct?
Yeah, but he wasn't. He wasn't a communist. He was just a social.
But now, when they did that, when Jomo Kenyatta labeled Odinga as a communist, did Europeans get involved? Because once that happens, here comes America, you know.
Oh, at that time, if anybody labeled you a communist, it's over for you, man. Nobody wants to work with you. The Western world will disown you. You know, they'll never help you get to power. And if you get to power, chances are you will be assassinated.
Right.
And this is what the Western world has been doing to Africa all along. They still do it in West Africa, especially Francophone countries.
Mm-hmm.
French-speaking countries seem to bear the most of this.
Right. I mean, you had Thomas Sankara in Burkina Faso. You had Patrice Lumumba in Congo.
Yeah, so many.
Right.
In French West Africa, you find a lot of French puppets ruling the even people who have French passports.
Right. So okay, so Uhuru wins again.
Mm-hmm.
What direction do you think he'll take the country in? Or what would be different for Kenya? Because he's been in office now, what, 2 terms? 2 or 3 terms?
One.
How long is each term for a president in Kenya?
5.
Okay. So he's been in office now 5 years.
Yeah.
What will he do differently, do you think, in your opinion, that he has not already done the past 5 years?
Well, basically, what I think would happen is for the 5 terms, Uhuru will want to secure his legacy. So he'll want to do, because he wants the Kenyatta name to remain relevant in politics.
Right.
So he'll try and do more infrastructural projects.
Okay.
He'll try and do a lot of physical development, tangible development, which people can point and say, this is what Kenyatta did.
Okay. And then if Odinga wins, what will he do or what will he improve on that, I guess, Kenyatta has already implemented or has not done at all?
Well, Odinga has been campaigning on one platform, which is corruption.
Okay.
He says that will be his major battle.
Okay. And I mean, I would say this. I mean, the simple fact that the Kenya Supreme Court stepped in, I mean, that says a lot. I mean, in a good way, that that they're against corruption, and that look, we're going to retry the election, even though that's going to be a very trying process as far as just going back, having to vote, recount the votes, and whatnot. Now, is this Odinga's second time running against Uhuru?
Yeah, second time running against Uhuru.
Okay.
Was it time in general?
Say that one more time.
Second time running against Uhuru, but 4th time in general.
Oh, so he's ran for office 4 times.
Yeah.
Why do you think he's lost so many times? I mean,
well, like in 2007, I'm going to be honest, Odinga won the election. But the system does not want him. Odinga is bringing in reforms, and well, nobody likes the status quo. Doesn't like changes.
So what reforms exactly is he bringing in?
Well, Odinga is the only one who's ever talked about government reforms and police reforms and this kind of reforms that nobody talks about as a politician.
But what specifically, like what police reform? I mean, because when I was in Kenya, I didn't see a police problem like here in America. So like
well, in Kenya we don't have. Luckily, we are all black, so we don't have police. We do have extrajudicial killing, and police have been tamed to some sort here in Kenya. but there's corruption in the police. There's nepotism. The police doesn't work for the people, basically.
Okay. Because I read I watched a video on YouTube on Al Jazeera, how they're talking about how the police in Mombasa were like taking out these Muslim clerics as far as assassinating them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know.
Like that, something like that. You see, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I know that was a big thing. Now let me ask you, what have they said? You know, Uhuru and Odinga. I don't know if it's a big problem anymore because you haven't heard anything on the news as far as dealing with organizations like Boko Haram. I'm not Boko Haram, El Shabaab. El Shabaab. What strategies or plans, or do they say they're going to implement to, you know, stop terrorist organizations like that?
Okay, for Odinga, one thing he has mentioned is he said he wants to bring Kenyan troops home.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're in Somali.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Kenyan troops are in Somali. They've been in Somali since 2013.
Okay. And then what about Uhuru? He wants them to stay in Somalia?
I want them to stay, yeah.
So I didn't know that because here in the West, you know, we are under the impression that America sends in their special forces and just helps Kenya, and that you guys aren't fighting yourselves versus El Shabaab. El Shabaab. So you're saying that Kenyan forces are actually stationed in Somalia, but they'll say, yeah. So in America, the story is that American special forces are actually fighting or doing the job on behalf of Kenya.
No, man, no. Whenever you hear an Al-Shabaab leader has been killed or something, it is Kenyan troops who do that, and then they hand over the bodies to Americans.
Really?
Yo, man, no.
Yeah, well, see, in America, see, that's why we have to have these conversations, because in America, they make it seem as if American special forces, they come into Somalia and they kill.
I have even a lot of friends in the military, man. American troops don't do anything. They don't do anything at all. They're given, this is the guy you want. Take him.
Oh, see, you know what? See, now we have to do another show on what American troops actually, their role is in Africa. Because again, here in America, when you watch the news, they'll say American special forces assassinated Al Shabaab leader. You're saying that it's Kenyan special forces that do that, but they get some intel from America.
They get the intel and then they hand over the body, or not even necessarily the intel, because I mean, they are stationed in Somalia. They know who is causing the problems. So it's only that, you know, this war is funded by the US. Everything is funded by the US. So I mean, they're not going to get Osama in, let's say Osama's deputy in Somalia.
Right.
Kenya will get credit. No, it will be the US that will definitely get the credit.
So why don't Kenya or Kenyans demand the credit? Because all the credit is going to Team America World Police.
Well, first of all, Amir, the world is controlled by power. The world is controlled by, there's a status quo in the world. And to defeat the status quo, you don't confront them head on. You don't say, we demand for this. No. The world works in a certain way. And if you go against that way the world works, it will backfire on you.
So somebody in the chat room said that Uganda and Rwanda troops are also in Somalia as well.
Yes, it is Kenya, Uganda, Ethiopia, Rwanda, and Sierra Leone. All of them have troops in Somalia.
See, I didn't know this. I mean, I knew there might be some Kenyan troops there, but again, here in America, the media.
Kenyan troops are the majority because they've taken the southern part of Somalia, and then they've left the rest to handle the northern part of Somalia.
That's good. I mean, I didn't know that. So I mean, it's okay. Let me ask you this: Kenyan military, really African military, like what? How powerful is Kenyan military? Like, because we don't hear anything about African military except for Egypt, but Egypt might as well be Saudi Arabia. So, like, what kind of power or what kind of training or what can Kenyan forces really do or what are they capable of?
Well, I can't really go into so much details because Kenyan military detail is not like American. It is not for the public to know.
Okay. Okay.
But what I can tell you is Kenyan troops have been trained by British troops and Israeli troops.
Right. And I guess word on the street is that the Israeli army is like the baddest army on the planet, from what I understand, from what I've been told.
So the Israeli army, they train our special forces. Together with the British also, they also train the special forces. And the Americans, they train a squad in the Kenyan military called the Rangers.
Wow, that's amazing. But then, see my question is, why do we have to go to them for training? Why can't we just train ourselves? That's my thing, because it's like you have to rely on governments who don't have the best interests of Africans at heart. I just wish we could just train ourselves, but that's neither here or there. So let's get back on the.
I told you, these things will happen. This will happen. The problem is, once we get a leader in Africa who's radical enough and who thinks like that, like why can't we do it ourselves, or why is this happening to Africa? What is wrong with Africa? Let us solve our own issues. Immediately he'll be labeled a dictator. He'll be given all sorts of names, sanctions put on the country. Everybody will be turned against you. So it is not to your benefit if you confront the problem head on. You confront it tactically, not head on.
Somebody said that, different from America, because in America, when a soldier passes away, they'll show the bodies on TV and they'll show the faces. They're saying in Kenya, they don't allow dead soldiers to be shown in the media when they're flown back to Kenya. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true.
Okay. Yeah, and in America it's different. They'll parade the bodies around and have big funerals. And
you see, one thing also you guys don't realize in America is they don't show the bodies from the country of origin. They show the body in the US.
Right.
Which is a sign of, like we are the heroes. They don't show the body in Iraq when it was in Iraq, showing where this guy died. They're showing the body in the West once it is in American hands. Yeah?
No, you're right.
So if Kenyan soldiers do the same, they show the body in Kenya, it is fine, because they do have public funerals. Yeah, they do even the 21 gun salute to the dead soldiers, but they don't show bodies even in war zones.
So, and not to change the subject, but we could go into it a little bit and get back to Odinga versus Kenyatta. How did this? Okay, what's the history? Like, how did this Al-Shabaab issue start? Like, what happened?
Al-Shabaab started. Well, the history starts with Somali. Somali, had the civil war.
Right.
And there was an organization called Islamic Courts Union.
Okay.
It's easy to rally people behind an idea, like an ideology. So Islamic Courts Union immediately filled the void that was left by the government in Somali.
Right.
So this did not please the West because they cannot allow, an Islamic government to take over Somalia.
Okay.
So immediately they sent the Ethiopians to attack the Islamic Courts Union. And from the breakaway pieces of the Islamic Courts Union, Al-Shabaab came in.
Okay.
One of the things with Al-Shabaab is they will want revenge for what the West has done to their country.
Okay.
And the easiest target is where? Is Kenya, where there is a lot of tourists from the West.
Right. Okay.
And near neighbors.
Okay.
So they would easily cross over to Kenya and hit soft targets, kidnap tourists, and go.
Hey, have they found the what's she called? The white girl, the white widow, the girl, the white girl.
Samantha Lethwaite, yeah.
They found her?
No, they've not found her.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy.
Not found her.
So basically, since Kenya is in cahoots or allied with the West, that's why they come into it.
Yeah. That's why Shabab want to target Kenya. So in return, Kenya had to send troops to Somalia. So it's just a vicious cycle. It's we're going round.
Do you think that Odinga or maybe Uhuru will ever sit down with the leader of Al Shabaab and put a truce together, or is it past that?
That can never happen. Never.
Okay.
None of them can do that. None of them can do that.
Okay. Somebody
Even
said,
if Odinga says he'll bring the troops home, that's just politics. He can never do that.
You don't think so?
He can't.
Wow.
The things beyond your thinking, and the things bigger than you.
Right. Somebody in the chat room said that the creation of Islamic Tribunal Courts was founded by Arab Gulf states, like Qatar.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's true. Islamic Courts Union had Somali under control, completely under control.
Yeah, and that's what I noticed. A lot of these Islamic, outside of, and I would say this, aside of the Islam in Senegal, a lot of these other Islamic sects in Africa that are supposed to be African are really controlled by Arabs.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, and he says
Once you become an Islamic country, you join the Arab League. So yeah.
So it's safe to say that Al Shabaab is funded by countries like Qatar and Saudi Arabia, maybe, and
It's possible, yes.
Okay. All right. So let's get back on the. And she said, somebody in the chat room said that is why Nelson Mandela never came to Kenya, because Kenya was in cahoots with USA and Britain. Is there any truth to that?
There was a story like that in the 90s. I don't know how true that is.
Okay.
I don't know whether he never came here because he didn't like the president or because he thought the president was too Western leaning. But there was a story like that. So I don't know how true that is.
Okay. So let's get back on Odinga and Kenyatta. So now, how does the original split between Odinga and Kenyatta, how does that affect Kenyan politics to this day?
Once the ideological differences came to public, because what Odinga did, he got a hospital built in his hometown, which is Kisumu. His stronghold, sorry, not his hometown, his stronghold, which is Kisumu, which is in the western part of Kenya. It was built by USSR,
Okay.
and that is super communist. You know,
Right.
that was a superpower of communism.
Okay.
Yeah, so immediately he was labeled a communist, and Kenyatta was out to discredit him, and so the ideological differences became bigger, and it became tribal immediately.
Okay. So if Odinga is labeled a communist, why is he so popular? Like how has he been able to run for president 4 times in a row? How does he get all the support?
Well, I'm talking about his father. So
Oh, okay.
even him, the Odinga, Raila Odinga, right now, Raila Odinga studied in East Germany,
He's in
which was
Germany.
a communist country. Yeah, it was a communist country then.
Okay.
So when he came back, also the second president also used the same tactic. He labeled Raila Odinga as a communist also.
Okay.
This was in the height of the Cold War in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
He labeled him a communist. Odinga is popular because all throughout they've been talking about social injustices. It is very easy to be popular in a poor country. Take Venezuela, for example, Ecuador, all these countries in the world where social issues have brought the president to power. Once you start talking about the welfare of the people, it is easy to gather crowds to listen to you.
Okay. Somebody in the chat said that Raila Odinga is supported by Western governments, which is not good for Africa. Is that true?
I don't think so. No, nobody has support from Western government. They have interests, and if they see today it is Odinga who's better at keeping the interest, they'll work with him. If they see it is Uhuru, they'll work with him.
Mm-hmm. Okay. They say Uhuru is getting closer to China, which Western governments hate. Well, China pretty much is controlling a lot of Africa. That's true?
That's true.
Okay.
It didn't start with Uhuru, though.
Okay. Let's see what else. See any other questions in the chat room. All right. Somebody asked. I think we already touched on this. Do political leaders in Kenya try to push certain tribal or religious agendas at all?
Tribal, not religious, tribal.
Okay, so how is that? Will they say, like, okay, so would a guy like Uhuru, will he come out and flat out say that the Kikuyu need preferred treatment, or the Kikuyu need this, or the Kikuyu should have access to this?
He won't personally say it, but he has his foot soldiers who would do that for him.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Why is there so much tribalism? In my honest opinion, might be a stupid question.
Because we don't have a genuine leader. We don't have somebody who's looking out for the people. Because if somebody is looking out for the people, it is easy to kill the tribal sentiment.
Mm-hmm.
But what these guys are looking at is to get rich off the public system.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they might come as reformers. They might come as, they seem as angels, but they're out to be rich. All of them.
So at the end of the day, either, whether it be Odinga or whether it be Kenyatta, they just want to get that money. That's what you're saying. They just want to be rich.
Yes. So
Wow.
you'll find a lot of people giving excuses why they support Uhuru or why they support Odinga, but in reality, it is just tribal emotion and because they've been beating this drum for so long since the '60s, man.
Yeah.
So obviously, the people, it will take a whole generation, another generation, to cure the country of tribalism.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of people in the chat room just they're just giving some history. And it all started in 1978, then struck again in 1998 and 2007. I don't know what he's talking about that. And then you know what, Becky has a point. In Tanzania, and I've been to Tanzania, it seems like Julius Nyerere, he killed tribalism,
He
meaning
killed tribalism by uniting them with one language.
Swahili.
Swahili, yeah.
Or Kiswahili, if there's a
Swahili.
difference.
Yeah.
Okay, do you think something like, well, Swahili is the major language in Kenya as well, though?
It is the national language, yes.
Okay. So what can we do?
What I can tell you is Julius Nyerere took a different approach to most of the African countries.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, he was labeled a communist.
True.
So whenever you do something to benefit your people, it is easy to be finished by the West.
Right. But he
united Tanzania.
Say that again?
And Julius Nyerere united Tanzania. Not many African countries can say they're united like that. Mm-hmm. Tanzania is really united. I think Tanzania is more even united than how, like the US is. US is right now, there's a bit of racial issues, especially with Trump right in office. Tanzania is strictly issue-based, like the politics is issue-based, which is very impressive.
That's good. Let me ask you this. As far as the US election, Trump, Hillary Clinton, who did Kenyans want to win and why? If you can answer that.
Now, Kenyans, it was obvious they wanted Hillary to win because of the Obama factor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now.
So again, people are going with the emotions, because
Mm-hmm.
people are saying Obama is half Kenyan, so of course, his choice is our choice.
Okay, because my honest opinion, I don't like Trump. I don't like Hillary. I don't believe in the whole Democratic Republican mind game. Personally, I think even though Trump's, the way he is, I would say for Africa as a whole, that he was a better choice because he will not get involved.
That is true.
In African politics, the way Hillary and Obama was doing, where they'll just get involved and they won't offer shit. I mean, you got to think about it. Obama and Hillary killed Gaddafi.
Yeah, that is true. No, I agree. Trump is the better choice for Africa.
So what do you predict? If we can get the Kimani prediction, who do you think is gonna win this re-election in 57 days?
I would think my prediction is I would think Uhuru would win.
Okay.
Uhuru would win based on the fact that he has, it is also psychological that he was declared the winner. So he'll go around the country telling people that already he won once. So even if you go for another election, he'll win again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's a psychological factor there. But realistically, Odinga is more popular than Uhuru.
So let me ask you this. So a couple months ago, and I don't know how this affects the election or affects the voting process. Uhuru, I guess, passed some type of mandate or law naming the Asian community as a tribe.
Yes.
how does that play a role in the actual election?
Like I told you last time, that was totally political. He wanted just the Asian vote.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that Asian vote is a very big vote, though.
It is in Kenya. It is. It is. It is.
Yeah.
You have Asian members of parliament. It is. It is.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. So let's see if we got any more questions in the chat room. Someone said we have no visionary politicians. Do you think that's true? How do you feel about that?
We do have, but their voices cannot reach to the top. Even in the US, they're there, but their voices cannot be allowed to reach to the top. There's something called the status quo.
Right.
So people don't want to change for the better of the citizen. No, people are out to make money, dude.
Right. So who would you consider more of a visionary, Kenyatta or Odinga?
Well, I like Odinga because he talks about things people don't talk about, like reforms.
Mm-hmm.
But
give us an example of an actual reform Odinga has brought up.
Okay, Odinga is the one who brought the story of the new constitution to the people.
Okay, and what exactly is new?
Kenya passed a new constitution in 2010.
Okay, and how has this kind of new constitution had a positive impact on the Kenyan people?
It has, as you can see from the Supreme Court.
Okay. So what was written in this new constitution that benefit?
That the Supreme Court is autonomous from the executive. They're independent.
Okay.
They can do decisions on their own.
All right, a guy Jones Kialo, and Jones, I think you're from Kenya. I think Jones is in Kenya, actually. He says that Asians don't have Kenyan ID. They are illegal immigrants who profit from Kenya's economy by tax evasion. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, there are some who've come later on, but we cannot ignore the fact that some were brought by the British in the 18th century, and I mean, even if you say go home, where will they go? Where is their home? Where will they go?
But it's just, in my honest opinion, when I've been to Kenya, and I've been to Tanzania, I feel as if many in the Asian community completely segregate themselves from the African community.
They do. Amir, you have to look at historical factors that lead to such things. I told you in Kenya, we had apartheid, same as South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And the British had classified the white people as the superior.
Right.
Number one, Asians and Arabs as number two, and the Africans came last.
Right.
So when we got independence, the Asians were the only educated population.
They were the only who?
They were the only educated population.
Okay.
This scenario is repeated throughout East Africa. It was in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania.
Mm-hmm.
So once we got independence, of course, the Asians were the only educated population. It was easy for them to group themselves together and control the market.
Mm-hmm.
And up to now, it is only 50 years since independence, so it is still continuing.
Right. But my thing is, in my honest opinion, I don't see them, since they were number two, we'll say, I don't see them, I guess, acknowledging that. And I guess, like somebody said in the chat room, they treat us like dirt. They think themselves as honorary whites. I mean, because in Nelson Mandela's book, Long Walk to Freedom, he said when he was in prison at Robbers Island, he said that the African prisoners, they made them walk around in little shorts, Daisy Dukes, but then they got the worst food. But then the Asians, they were given preferred treatment. Okay. I just don't see them acknowledging that. And I guess, how can I put it? Somewhat evening the, even though Kenya is ruled by blacks, I don't see them getting rid of that ego. You know, that ego that is a false sense of ego that was given to them by the former colonial masters. I don't see them getting rid of that ego. You know, realizing that, hey, the only reason why you're number two is because the colonial master made you appointed you number two.
Yeah. Amir, have you been to Louisiana?
I have, yes.
Yeah, the people called the Creoles who
Yes.
uh, mixed with French and black.
Right.
What happened is it is exactly the same scenario that is there that was also done here in Africa. The Creoles were ranked as number two to the whites.
Mm-hmm.
So even up to now, if you go to Louisiana, you will find some Creoles who cannot allow their daughters to marry black people.
True, but I would say this, Kevin, living here in America, it is not as big as an issue or even an issue at all, like when I go to Africa and see it as far as with the Asian community.
Yeah.
It was an issue, you know, back in the 19th century and the early 20th century. But now I don't see it really as an issue like I do when I go to places like Kenya, when I was especially South Africa, and when I was in Tanzania.
Yeah. You see, if you've gone to Mombasa in Kenya, Mombasa is exactly like Tanzania. So what happens is the Arabs and the Indians are the ruling class, the business class.
Right.
And then the Africans are their servants. This is a replica of what happened in the colonial times.
Right.
It will take, we were under colonialism for over 200 years, man, 150, 200 years. Directly, the British would say they took over Kenya in 1890. No, but they were here before.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been under colonialism for long, with the church, with everything.
Right.
It is a mentality that it will take long for people to know the power that they have.
Mm-hmm. Somebody in the chat room said Idi Amin realized this and kicked them out. But it just, unfortunately, when Idi Amin kicked them out, the Ugandans were in position to fill in. That's why they kind of...
No, Ugandans were in position to fill in. That is why you're wrong. I told you, the world works in a certain way. When Idi Amin kicked them out, he went against the West.
Okay.
And so they had to destroy him.
Okay. No, keep going. So you're saying that the Ugandans had the know-it-all to fill in for the Indians?
Yes. You know, it is like Zimbabwe when Mugabe kicked out the whites.
Right.
Was it the white owner who was working the farm? No, it wasn't him.
Mm-hmm.
It was the black people who were working the farm. The white guy owned the farm.
Okay, right. Okay. Exactly. Because they make it seem as like, okay, when Mugabe kicked out the white farmers, that everybody just starved to death. But you made a point. All they did was just stay in the house, but the black people worked the farm.
Yeah. So that is exactly what happened in Uganda. Idi Amin was, I can say, he was ahead of his time. He saw it. He saw that there's going to be a ruling class made up of Asians.
Right.
And he kicked them out because it was immediately after independence, just a few years after independence. It was easy then to kick them out. Right. Because they would get British passports.
In which they did.
They did. And some even came to Kenya. Because, you know, Jomo Kenyatta was a straight up capitalist. He was offered money by the British government and told, let this guy settle in Kenya. So there's some of them settled in Kenya.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because from my understanding, I read a story that they didn't have, and while this was going on, also in India, you had to split between India and Pakistan, from my understanding.
And Pakistan, yeah. Yeah.
And from my understanding, Britain was like, look, we don't have room for all of them. Even though we give some of them passports, they all can't come here. So you had Idi Amin kicking up. Well, Idi Amin was a little bit later than the, I think the Pakistan and India split. But I know
It
there was,
wasn't very late. It was a few years after.
yeah. I know that they just said they didn't have room for them. So that's probably why they gave money to the Kenyan government to let them in.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, cool. But you know, it's been great, man, you know, having this conversation. I just think we need to dialogue, you know, have more dialogue like this, you know, so we can really get the truth on what's going on. Because again, just simple stuff like the El Shahab situation. We're told in America that American special forces, they come out, they raid,
Nothing
they
like that.
shoot up
Nothing like
everybody.
that.
The Kenyans are just like they can't defend themselves. That's what we're told here in America.
They make the Americans become the superheroes. They landed and attacked and took this guy. No, man, nothing like that, man.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so we just need to have more conversations like this and document it so people can really understand what's going on and what's the real relationship between the West and Africa. Because I mean, I would have never thought. I didn't know. Like I just thought, like I said, in the West, you know, we send our super soldiers and we go in and we clear everything out, and you know, you guys just, you know, congratulate us on the sideline.
Uh-huh. No. Amir, like I've said, the world works in a certain way. There is a status quo to be maintained in the world, and
Uh-huh.
whoever goes against the status quo suffers. Thomas Sankara is a very good example.
Right.
He went against the status quo. Mugabe went against the status quo. You
Mm-hmm.
know, Mugabe, all of a sudden, when Zimbabwe got independence, he was being given praises left, right, and center by the West. You know, they even gave him honorary doctorates. He was knighted by the Queen of England.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, when he started talking about the white people have to leave the farms, because I mean, 2% of the population is controlling 80% of the land. That is ridiculous.
Right.
The white Zimbabweans were richer than everybody on earth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's ridiculous. They had to go. This was not
Right.
their land. They were given the land by the British government.
Right. That was stolen.
That was stolen, yeah. So once he kicked them out, all of a sudden he became a monster. CNN started running documentaries on how people are suffering,
Right.
how troops are killing his people, which is utterly nonsense, you know.
Right.
And then they put sanctions on your country. Your country can't even afford anything. So it makes you seem like really you are a dictator.
Mm-hmm.
And in turn, you have to be a dictator to stay in power. Because
Right.
actually, if you leave power, the first thing Mugabe, if he leaves power, he'll be arrested and taken to ICC immediately. That is rather obvious. That is how they operate, man.
Yeah, but I think he said that how can they get him to ICC? He renounced the ICC.
He did, but you see, they'll pressure the person who will be in power to give Mugabe up, and then they lift the sanctions. It is very simple.
Hey, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this last question real quick. And somebody made a comment in the chat room. I don't know how much you know about Rwanda and the Congo. They said, I think his name is Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda.
The president of Rwanda.
Yeah, he said he's developing Rwanda at the expense of the Congo. How is that possible?
Well, I'm not going to deny that. A lot of people have their hands on the Congo.
Okay. Like, what exactly is he doing? If you know, if you don't know, I thought that was interesting.
I do know. Some things I'm not comfortable speaking about.
Okay, got you. Understand. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, but hey, Kevin, Mr. Kamani, make sure you share with everybody your contact information before we check out. But man, once again, thank you for coming on, bro. I'm glad we had this conversation, man. I mean, we need to build like this more.
Pleasure, man.
Yeah, but share with everybody. Anything you want to share. Go ahead and close out. In closing, share with people. Where they can contact you, the projects you're working on, information. Go ahead and share with everybody.
Okay, okay. Uh, Amir, basically, what I'd tell your followers, especially, is to read between the lines, not be radical. Even if you're pro-black, never be radical. Be tactical.
Mm.
That is a
Mm.
very important thing. Don't just be radical. Don't say, "Oh, these guys are doing this to Africa." Be tactical. See how
Mm.
you do it differently. Not confront it head on. Because, like I said, the world works in a certain way.
Wow. And then where can people contact you at?
People can get me on Facebook, Kevin Kimani. Can get me on email. I can drop my email on this video after we're done.
Yeah, please. And then I'll also put it in the chat in the description box too.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, man. But hey, Kevin, I appreciate it. People in the chat room, thank you for coming on and participating. And you guys had some great questions.
Not a
Search
problem.
for,
Not a
search
problem,
for
man.
Uhuru. Please follow me on Instagram. Search
Yeah,
for Uhuru on Instagram. Search for Uhuru on Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Also go to
yeah,
dynasamir.com, go to searchforhuru.com, and go to Amazon.com and search your name, Dynasamir. Buy a book. My books will come up. But I appreciate you guys coming on. Kevin, was there something else you wanted to say?
No, 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 no. Well, I wanted to ask you what's up, what's been going on in the US. I just saw some news about Texas, man.
Yeah. So there was we had a storm, a hurricane come in. Hurricane, hold on, I forgot the name of it. But yeah, man, it
Harvey,
pretty much East
Hurricane Harvey.
Texas, like Houston, is underwater, right? Well, it was underwater, but it pretty much was underwater.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah. So yeah, these hurricanes come in, man, and they wreck. They give us hell, man. So Houston, which is pretty much the gas, like the oil economy. It's like all the oil pipelines that kind of come to the south and other parts of America start at Houston, and they have a huge oil industry and economy. I mean, it's pretty much shut down for the last couple of days because of just the raining and the flooding and all that from the hurricane. So yeah, so we had that. We had a lot of damage. They're saying $100 billion worth of damage in USD, which is a lot of money. But I mean, it's America. We'll just print it. We'll just print the money. So yeah, so at Houston, there was a lot going on in Houston as far as the floods and the hurricane. But then there's another hurricane coming right now on its way. So people need to prepare. But yeah, it was pretty bad. It was kind of like,
It's Texas again.
say that one more time.
It's going to hit Texas again, or it's going to a different part.
We don't know like the path completely, but it should hit the U.S. They're saying this coming up weekend.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, so man, it's there's a lot going on as far as hurricane season, which is very destructive. So yeah,
Okay, that's unfortunate.
it is. So yeah, so Kevin, there's nothing else you have to say, man, or anything else you want to share. We're going to go ahead and shut it down. Again, people, thank you so much for coming on. Don and Samir, the Confidant Don. Till next time, peace.
All right, peace.